This sounds like, based on your reporting, like a good old-fashioned NBA trade, although it wasn't just all announced at once like a three-team or a Harden-Palooza got announced earlier in this regular season for the NBA. But it just does sound like the Dolphins needed to get that piece with the Eagles done before saying yes to the 49ers, correct?
Yeah, and that's what made it so sensitive. And I think it really took a lot of trust on the part of the three teams. John Lynch pulling the strings in San Francisco, Chris Breer pulling the strings in Miami, and, of course, Howie Roseman in Philadelphia. Because I think, for San Francisco to offer what they did, they wanted confidentiality because they didn't want, it to touch off, a flurry of offers, coming to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins respected that. And, in exchange, the Niners gave the Dolphins time to go and seek out a partner to get the other part of the deal done. And so it's complicated in the NFL. There's a lot of moving pieces there. And the Dolphins didn't want to go that far back. I've got my suspicions on some reasons for that. I think in the end, really, it was about keeping the train on the tracks, over the last 3 weeks. And, I think it's a good commentary on everybody involved that they were able to kind of keep this under their hats. The Eagles felt like Jamar Chase probably goes 5th overall to the Bengals. And, after that, they felt like, what they'd be getting at 6 wasn't that different than what they'd be getting at 12. And this would allow them to get an extra first-round pick for next year when they're really going to be able to turn the page and get younger. Obviously, San Francisco goes in and now takes control of its destiny at quarterback. And the Dolphins come out of all of this with more assets and still only having to move back 3 spots.
So how safe is the assumption that the Niners contacted the Jets first and were told no thanks to the same deal or something maybe even more improved than what the Dolphins said yes to?
I'm told they didn't have any talks on the 2nd overall pick, which is a fascinating piece to all of this. And I can tell you that the Niners did have internal discussions on Sam Darnold, and there were discussions between the Jets and the Niners on Sam Darnold. But, really there never was a discussion between the Jets and the Niners about the 2nd overall pick. And my feeling on that is that the Niners, went through vetting the whole situation with Sam Darnold and came away with the idea that the Jets were going to stick there at 2 and take a quarterback. So I think they knew, just because of the sensitivity of everything, that if they were going to move forward with a big offer to move into the top 5, they wanted to kind of keep their intentions there quiet. And so, going around and checking with different teams on, what they'd be willing to do with their top 5 pick, that certainly could be a way of it getting out what they were doing. And again, it could kind of change the conditions in the market. And so, again, I think so much of this for John Lynch and for Kyle Shanahan was to be able to move forward quietly on a deal that was going to be very complicated for everybody to get done.
No, I hear you, Albert Breer, but I mean, it just strikes me that if you're going to go to 3, 2 is even the better spot because one is, an absolute pounding of sand. There's no question about that. So, that makes no sense that they wouldn't at least surmise, what the Jets would want for 2. So are you saying that based on what people are telling you, there's a possibility Joe Douglas is watching the pro day with Zach Wilson, hearing the news, and then goes across the field to the 49ers at some point and says, what gives? I mean, you didn't even call us. Is that possible?
Look, it doesn't make a ton of sense to me either. I'm just telling you what my reporting is there, and I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Right. Logically, you would think, if you're the Niners, all right, we know who the first pick's going to be, right? So maybe it's not even worth the phone call to Jacksonville. But, yeah, I'm with you that, logically you can look at it and you can say, well, let's start at 2 and work down. You know what I mean? I think the Niners, because they'd had those discussions on Darnold, maybe felt like they had a better feel for it. You know what I mean? And so,
right.
There's photographic evidence. I know it was out there. I'm sure you saw it too. There was a picture of John Lynch standing there with Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh and at Zach Wilson's pro day. So you would have to think that potentially came up, like, well, why didn't you make us an offer for 2, and so I don't know what was said in that discussion, but, if I was Joe Douglas, I would certainly want to know if they hadn't reached out about the second pick, why they didn't reach out about the second pick.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.